Okay, we have arrived at section 1-3, dealing with trends in data. And so our objective is simply to explore data by graphing. And the two very simple graphs we're going to do are called box and whisker and scatter plots. So just to dive right in, I've got a data set here. We can imagine it might be like the times it takes my A period class to drive to Pingree or something like that. Okay, so we've got 13 data points, and we're going to make a box and whisker graph. Well, first thing you do is you find the median. It's all about medians, and medians are middle values. So with 13 data points, we just have to find the 7th value, and that's the middle one with 6 on either side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There is my median value. My lower extremity is 5. My upper extremity is 23, and I now need to find where the quartiles are. That's the quarter dividers. Well, they're also medians. I leave this one off if it's an odd number of data points. If it's an even number of data points, then I just divide that half into and find its median value. So in this case, leaving that off, I've got 3 and 3, so I'm going to go in between 7 and 8 and go 7.5. That's my first quartile, Q1. That's my median, 11. And my next quartile with these remaining 6 is going to be halfway between 15 and 18, and that is 16.5, and that's Q3, okay? So the box and whisker plot is easy enough to draw. I just need like a scale. There's my 0. I can do 5, 10, 15, 20, and 25, and my upper whisker is at 23. My lower minimum value is at 5, and then I draw the box, and the box is between these quartiles, so I go to 7.5 and draw a line. I go to 16.5, 15, 16, 17, that's about there, and there's my box, and these are my whiskers. And then the median value is at 11. And if you draw it carefully, you do not need to relabel. If it's at all unclear, you can put 5 and, what is that, 7.5 and 11 and 16.5 and 23. But I can get crowded if you do that too. All right, so that's scatter plot. And I think I'm going to go to calculator land. Let's do that. Let's take a trip to calculator land. Ready?
Hello boys and girls, we are in calculator land. We have got our TI-83 sparked up, and we're going to enter that data set and then find a box and whisker plot through technology. So I go to stat right there, stat, press that, you get the little menu across the top. I want to do edit, so I just hit enter, and I have already entered that data. If you can see that there, I'll zoom in for a second, and there's my data. Now what I'm going to do is find the box and whisker plot. So I can show whether or not the plot is on right here by hitting Y equals, and you see the plot 1 is not on, but by up arrowing I get to that plot 1 and I can turn it on. It won't work if it's not turned on. Then if I do second stat plot, not only is it on, but I can see that it's in 2 variable modes. That L1 and L2 means expecting 2 variables, but I only want to go 1. So I hit enter to modify that plot, and I see that it's turned on there, but I want to go down and choose that option, the 5th option for the box and whisker. So I scroll across, I keep going right arrow, and there I arrive at box and whisker, and you'll see that when I hit enter, that L2 will disappear. And there it's gone. So it's down to 1 variable, my 1 column of data that I entered, and now I can find the plot very easily. The simplest way is simply to do zoom and then go down all the way to option 9, and you see where it says zoom stat there with option 9. I just hit enter, and there's my box and whisker plot. If I hit the trace key, it'll tell me my median value right there is 11. I left arrow, and it says that my Q1 is 7.5, exactly as we expect. My minimum value is 5, also as I expect. My upper quartile, my Q3 is 16.5, and then my extremity is 23. So there it is, simple as that.
Hey, I'm back. Okay, now we're going to do scatter plots. So just to keep it really simple and keep this moving, let's say we have 5 data points. I've asked 5 of my advisees their last babysitting gig, and they worked say 3 hours and then 4 hours and just 1 hour and 5 hours and another 3 hours. And how much were they paid for their hours of babysitting labor? And that resulted in answers of $23 and $36, $10, $48, and we'll say $18, something like that. Well, to make a quick scatter plot to get a sense of this data, I'm going to graph hours of worked and wages earned. The control variable, we call it, is going to go on the horizontal axis. The thing that we really have control over is how much we choose to work. Usually time, if it ever appears, is on the horizontal axis. So that's 0 hours worked, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 hours. And then our earnings go up to, say, $50 right there. So there's 10, 30, and 50. So then to make the graph 3 earn me 23. I like a graph that has a point and then you kind of circle it to make it bigger rather than make it a big blob. And little points are often hard to find, and if you make a mistake this way, you can kind of check it and circle it and it works well. So 4 is 36, so maybe about there. And 1 is 10, that's pretty easy. 5 is 48, so maybe about there. And 3 then is 18, so maybe about there. And then my goal is to sort of get a sense of what's going on, and clearly there's an upward trend. We'd say that's a positive trend. You can have negative, you can have no correlation, no trend if they're randomly scattered, and there'll be chances for you to decide which is which. If I look for sort of the best line that goes through all of these, that's called a best fit line. It might be something like that. The slope of that is going to work out to be your average hourly wage for babysitting. How much do you earn based on an hour of work? Okay, so I will then do that on the calculator too. So let's go back to calculator land.
Okay, I'm going to show you how to do the scatter plot also on the calculator because it's pretty simple and I think it's a good skill to have. Once again, I go to the stat button there, and when I hit stat and then edit, I'll get my list of data. The easiest way to clear a list of data is to up arrow to L1 and then not to hit delete. If you hit delete, you will actually delete L1 and this will kick over to there and it'll be gone, and it's possible to insert it, but it's a pain. So what I want to do is just hit clear right there. I'm going to hit the clear button, and then you'll see when I hit enter down here, actually you won't be able to watch me, but believe me, I hit enter and then it clears the whole list. That's the easiest way to do it. So once again, use the clear button, don't delete anything. And then my data, my hours of babysitting went 3 and 4 and then 1 and 5 and 3, and then I go right arrow, and my earnings from babysitting for that were 23 and then 30 and 10 and 50 for my 5 hours of work, and then finally $18 for the 3 hours. There are my 2 data points. Again, if I go to y equals, I can see that my plot is turned on, but remember it was 1 variable for the box and whisker, so I'm going to go back to second and then stat plot and go into that realm and then go to, that's the scatter plot. So when I hit enter, you'll see the L2 comes back, and there it is. And so once again, if I just do zoom 9, zoom, and I'm going to press the number 9, there are my points. Okay.